Welcome everybody to this new episode of My Data Guest. As you know, the month of March is dedicated to interacting with the AI, so mainly to prompt engineering, and that was the original goal for this episode, and that's how I approached Adham Khaled to give a presentation around prompt engineering. I saw an article that he wrote on Medium, and I thought it was very exhaustive and very clear about the whole prompt engineering thing, so I asked him if he could present it here. But then we started talking a bit around what to say during this episode, and we decided that it would be nice to present the evolution of prompt engineering into context engineering. And so that's the topic for today. Adham Khaled is an embedding engineer and an AI blogger, educator. So he's extremely knowledgeable about the whole prompt engineering AI topic. So welcome, Adham.
Welcome, Rosaria. How are you?
It's yours.
Thank you for this good introduction.
Shall we start with
So
the
let's,
first question? So what's prompt
yeah.
engineering?
So prompt engineering is just the way you prompt or ask a question to the AI. It answers the general questions. Maybe you can ask it one sentence, it answer, but when it goes to working with the model or building something with it, you have to use some sort of techniques that make the model understand you more, or maybe you can give it a context about the environment that makes it understand more what you need to give you a better results, and maybe it can increase its performance.
So basically, you cannot just ask, you need to guide the model into understanding what you mean.
Yeah. You just use some sort of techniques that the researchers tried with many LLMs, and they proved that it increased its performance. So we gonna use it today. We're gonna learn it, some basics, and we're gonna use both. We're gonna use prompt engineering and context engineering to build something that really works, because I believe everyone should learn how to use AI in a simple way. That's my goal of my writing on Medium, simply.
Perfect.
So let's start sharing the slides. Okay. So let's start first with explaining some basics of prompt engineering and the context engineering. Prompt engineering, as you said, it's how you ask a question to the AI model or the large language model in a specific techniques to make it understand you more and give you more desired outputs. And the second, the context engineering, it's not just asking the model, you just giving it an environment, you are giving it some permissions, some files, some context, so it never forgets some instructions or some rules, and it builds and works with you. That's basically the two of them. I like to say about prompt engineering, it's like the steering wheel that you guide the AI with it, and the context engineering is the main engine that gives you more desired outputs or working outputs like web apps, files. So let's start with the techniques of the prompt engineering. This is standard techniques that you can use it right now and can try it right now. The first one is the role context format. You give it a context about you, and you give it a format of the output answer. So basically, it's who the AI is and who is it's talking to, and what format you want the output. And we will give an examples in our live demo at the end of this session, by the way. So for now, we are just explaining these techniques, and all the examples is at the end of the episode. So the second one is just adding this sentence, think step by step. It makes the model reason and think before it answers. And we use this one from the non-reasoning models. Today we have reasoning and non-reasoning models. The non-reasoning models are faster but maybe it answers incorrect, it hallucinates. But we want to use them in some cases that we need faster responses from the AI. So we can just add this sentence to improve the output or give some reason before output. The third technique is the few shot prompting. You just give it examples or files you had earlier. So you wanna ask about a new file, for example, a new Excel file, and you give it an old Excel files, maybe 2 or 3, or maybe a one, and you ask it for the new file according to the example file format, and it just give it the same format but a new file that you ask it for. And we use this technique generating all the context file in our live demo today. The fourth technique is the negative. You tell it what not to do. So AI just gives you an answers or some part of its response you don't need. So you give it a negative, don't do this, don't do that, don't answer like this, don't give me that. So you filters its response, so it also improved its output. The last technique, it's not a technique, it's like tips and tricks, I like to call it that way. The first one is the verbalized sampling that I wrote about it in my Medium article. It's like telling the model to think about 5 responses with a probability estimate about something. So this way researchers discovered that it makes it more creative and don't just give you the safe or the default outputs. Like if you asked it to think about some app ideas, the first thing is giving you the to-do list app, then the notes app. This is the normal or default response. But when you prompting it this way, just give me 5 responses with probability estimates of something, you unlock its creativity and you make it think harder or more for more creative or unique outputs. I think like a distribution in the data science field, and you are not just taking an answer from the middle distributions, you are taking an answers from the size of the distribution. So the next tips and tricks, maybe you can tell it to deep web search so it can web search before it answers you. You tell it deep think, as we said earlier. You can repeat the question or the prompt again. This is a recent uh, um, a research paper that I have read, that researchers discovered that when you just copy your question in the same prompt, it answers, it increases the performance of the model. Just copy your question, paste it again, and ask the 2 questions together, 2 same questions. It will answers you better. And there are many tips and tricks we like to mention during our live demo. So moving to our context engineering. But before that, let's discuss why the prompt fails in some cases. When your session or chat goes too long or be too long, the AI gets confused. It may forget earlier instruction. It may crash. It may lose some memories of the context you give it earlier. It takes too long, it costs too much. This is the way the prompt engineering fail. And so moving to the context engineering, these are the 3 pillars of the context engineering. And the reason why I thought about this part of the episode along with the prompt session is the last 2 months updates and releases in the AI field. We are transforming or moving to the AI agentic era, or the era that AI build, or you can make a team using AI. So the 3 pillars are the global context, the dynamic context, and the tool binding. The global context is like a file, a text, a just normal text file that you give it to the AI agent or the LLM. So it keeps reviewing it after every uh, message or question you or task you give it. So these contexts may include some instructions and some rules, some formats. It will not forget these instructions. They're permanently stored inside its memory or its brain. So the second pillar is the dynamic context. So when you ask about something inside, maybe a PDF, you just mention this PDF and you ask the LLM to search for the answer of your question inside this context file or PDF or text file or whatever. You just pump this file or text inside the question and you ask your question and it answers based on this file. You don't need to upload your file every time. It's stored in your workspace and you mention it when you need it. The third pillar is the tool binding. It's giving the AI access to the terminal that it can edit your files, delete files, create file structure folders, or you can give it access to search the web or open a browser, maybe reviewing your front end project, editing some bugs, or maybe it can view the database, search inside it. You giving it like the hands and the eyes and it react or do your tasks based on your questions. So we're gonna use in our live demo two tools that I like to use because they are free. They are not the best, but they are best in the free ones. So you can just start implementing our live demo or learn with us right now. The first tool is the Gemini command line interface. Google just made Gemini, their AI model, inside the terminal so it can act as we said. It can create files, it can read files, it can edit or delete or anything. You can just set up the Gemini.m. This MD file, it's like the text file, but in a proper format that AI understands more. So you can give it Gemini.md files. It's like the global context, as we said, it's the first pillar in in our last slide. The permanent instructions that it will always follow during your session. The second command is this add command. You just mention the file in your workspace and it will answer depending on it. The third command is like instead of running a command manually in the terminal or in your shell, you run it inside the session, and instead of copying the output from the terminal in the LLM, it just sees the output. So when it's a bug or an error, it solves it automatically. So moving into the next tool is Google Antigravity. It's like a VS Code, our famous IDE that we have worked with it for years. This is the same, but it's by Google and it's free. And Google put their model inside it as the AI agent that can do the same things that the Gemini command line interface can do, but in your IDE or in your you can workspace, you can see your files, even it can view your browser, it can open the browser, it can do more, it has more features than the terminal tool. So let's move to our demo. I also have included a PDF tutorial that includes all our demo. Here it is. It will be attached with this video that will explain everything, and you will see every command or prompt we have used in this demo. So you can focus with us right now, and you can view this PDF later after this episode. So let's start with our demo.
I will
First,
attach the PDF to the description of the video. Thank you
okay,
for providing that.
no problem. So let me show you the results first. We have made this web app in just 2 hours. It's not working. It's just a base. In 2 hours, we made this with the terminal-based tool, Gemini command line interface, and this with the Antigravity IDE. It has database. It has authentication. It has a dashboard like this one, maybe better. So let me show you how we did this thing without even thinking about anything. So first I opened Claude. I like to use Claude for everything. It's the best model capable right now. I prefer it more than Google Gemini. But it's not free. It has limits. Google also has limits, but you give it more quota, then you can try and learn with it easily. Then when you move to your professional work, you can use Claude and pay for it. So the first technique it's the be specific technique. I give it a role. You are a senior product manager at a tech startup. I give it a context. I want you to build a simple app that solves a real problem for technical writers, which is me. So I give it the format that I want it to answer with according to it. This is like filtering or compressing the output instead of giving a long answer. I just a problem it solves in one sentence, target user one sentence, core feature one sentence. Then the negative instructions we discussed in our techniques. Don't suggest generic ideas like to-do list apps or chat apps. I also told him to deep web search and deep think before it answers. So it searched the web. This is some sources, and it gave me three main ideas in the format. I told it this is the first idea. This is the second. This is the third. Then I used the verbalized sampling technique that we discussed for evaluating these three ideas. So I told it from the three ideas above, evaluate each one, generate 5 assessment with probability estimates that we discussed earlier of market success. We considered this is a comparison pillars or comparison considerations. So it gave me every idea, the competition, or moderate or is aggregation. It gave me the probability that 75%, ease of building 70%, and like this for the second idea and the third idea. I looked into it for just 5 minutes thinking about them, and I chose this one. It solves a big problem for me as a technical writer. The big companies like ChatGPT or Claude changes something in their documentation. This web app updates me. It's monitor their news and their APIs, and it updates me or giving me an updates if anything changes. So when I write a tutorial about some new tool released, and a month later they updated it and changed a command, so my tutorial will be not working with the readers. So this is fixes this problem, and I like this idea too much. Then it also gave me a summary. It helped me to take the decision of the first idea, and it also gave me a recommendation. The next one is the chain of thought technique. I told it to think step by step about the idea you have selected before giving me a tactic plan. Identify the three biggest risks. This is the kind of the questions that it will think about it, and this is complex ones, not a normal questions. So I told him to think before answering them and show its full reasoning before concluding. So it answered it successfully. It gives me all the risks, all the advantages, and it also told me that we should build it or pivot it. So build it with one condition. It told me everything. The next thing is I used the few shot prompting to generate this context file that we will use in the next phase, our context engineering. The first one, I used the few shot prompting technique. I give it an example, an exact example of the format of the file that I want it to write as it, a project, a brief, an app name, problem statement, target user, core features, out of scope. This is the standard context files. You can add anything, you can remove anything. It's open to you. So it gave me the, I don't know why it don't load, but we can open it in our IDE later. Then the second file, we generate the initial file that the model will start working with. It will do the tasks, the first task inside it. So the initial feature request, what I want to build, tech stack, front end, back end, database, all the initial tasks. Then we go to the third context file. It's the global context file we discussed earlier. So it's the permanent rule or instructions that it will never forget during our sessions. So it gave me also this file. I have downloaded them, okay, and put them inside a workspace. Like I did, okay, we can reviewed it here. This is the command line interface terminal tool, and this is the 3 files we have generated. This file we also have generated, but I will tell you why we generated it later. This digital Gemini file, this is the initial file, this is the project brief file according to our format that we give it using the few shot prompting technique. It gives us the file. This workspace was empty. I just created this my web app folder and pasted inside it these 3 files that we have created using Claude, and initialized the terminal inside this workspace. This is VS Code, by the way. I just opening it to monitor our files, but the main work is here in our terminal. So we logged in, we initialized the model. We told him we used this command that we discussed earlier to look into the initial.md file, and based on this future request, create the full folder structure for this project and explain its folder's purpose. So after that, it created this whole folders and this whole structure in maybe couple of minutes or 5 minutes. It created everything. It downloaded the missing dependencies. It ran many commands. It created the structure. Everything is okay. And it also automatically read the Gemini file. Here it is. It read the file automatically. It was loaded earlier before I gave it this task. So after that, I kept working with it. The second prompt we give it, it's included here. Yes, this is the file. Set up your project. We set up our project, created the file, tested it, and launched Gemini. Then we told it this command to stop its work. So it created the folder structure. Then I told him to create the main app component. I'm not a web developer. I don't know what is it specifically, but I think it's the front end and the back end of the app. So it created the main app components, this folder. It created the feed, the layout, the UI. It created everything. Then I have told him to review or run the app using this command. I told him to list the what's inside the source folder, and its output, it automatically loaded in its context. Instead of just copying and pasting the output of the terminal, I just used this exclamation mark, and the output is automatically loaded in the context, and it got some errors, I think, and it fixed it. But the problem with the terminal that it can't launch the browser to view what it has done. So I kept working with it. I took a screenshot from the result that it made and gave it back to him and fix this. This is the thing here, that you don't have to re-explain everything in a normal chat. It doesn't forget anything. You just need to take a screenshot, fix this, add this, make this future, just a small prompts during the working session. So I kept doing this for 3 more times until we got this feed. It's local. It has some bugs, but I solved it in just 1 hour. It has some pages, some settings. Maybe this is the bug. It doesn't have a database. This is a disadvantage of using the terminal-based agent. So after that, I moved with the same process to Antigravity. This is the idea. Maybe you can use Cursor if you know it. Maybe you can use Cloud Code Desktop. Maybe you can use VS Code, and it has an AI agent inside it. But Antigravity is the best free one. I'd like to use it. So I did the same things. I pasted the Gemini file, the initial file, the project brief file inside the empty My Web App 2 workspace, and I just told him, let's start. We don't need to mention the initial file. We don't need to mention anything. It analyzes everything automatically. Let's start. It analyzed it. It created an implementation plan. This is a feature that it's not in the terminal app. It has 2 modes: planning before executing tasks, and fast for just fixing the errors and bugs. So it created the implementation plan, and I reviewed it and confirmed it, and it proceeded with the implementation plan and started working and do the same things that the terminal did, but in a more professional way. So it created all the file structure, all the components again, without needing to tell him to create the components. So it created everything. This is the one specifically for the Antigravity. I told him to start a development server, open the app in the browser, take a screenshot. I told him to do this to test what he did, and comparing it to our project brief, it took the screenshots and it kind of missed some UI interface or something. This is the key of the context engineering. I just told him to proceed with building the missing UI, and it proceeded. We don't have to explain or re-explain everything. It created the implementation plan. It proceed, and there is a feature in Antigravity. It's called the Agent Manager. This feature enables you to start multi-agents or more than one agent inside your workspace. So maybe you can have a team working in parallel inside the workspace.
Basically, what you did, you wanted to create an agent that reads your articles and checks whether something is outdated, right? So an agent for that. And to prompt the agent, you use the context engineering, right?
Yeah.
So this is the whole story. So, and
Yeah.
you prefer, why did you prefer to use the context engineering over the prompt engineering? You mentioned a few advantages for that before you went into the hands-on part. Which are the best advantages of context engineering over prompt engineering, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's the best advantage is that it's have a persistent memory. It never forgets your older or your first initial instruction. You don't have to re-explain everything inside the chat, every question, everything. You just fix this, add this to this. It's just a small prompt during the working session with your agent, and it will perform well more than when you're just a normal prompting it in a normal chat, or just a normal prompting it in the specific using a specific tool or agent. You give it a context before you start, and it will give you the best results.
So you say the context allows you allows the agent, not you, allows the agent to have memory, and it allows the agent to fix the prompt in case you want to adjust it a bit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you can use the agent to generate more files. That I had an issue with the terminal based tool, and the front end was kind of buggy and have more errors. So I got back to Gemini and I told him to generate a front end user interface .md file, and it generated it according to our earlier three files we had generated. And I gave it to Gemini and I told him to fix or create the front end again according to this new file I have added to you, and it done it successfully. It solved all the errors, it created it better than before. And also there is more stuff that coming up recently. There are skills. You give it the agent as skills. There are more or many GitHub repos that includes this skills. You just mention the skill. It's created by these developers that they have made. Maybe Anthropic developers made similar skills. You just gave it to the agents. It's just the files like the files we generated, like default files or default skills that the agent will use, and it makes it performance better, and it makes it more better as a professional instead of general outputs.
Okay, but so did you try it?
The skills specifically, no, I didn't try it, but it's worked similar as the context files. It's like a context file, but you download a very big skills or many files and put it inside your agent. It's like a global context or a global skills that we don't have to recreate the context files as we did in the same project or in another project. You just give it the skills, and you can create 2, 3 more, 5, 6 projects, and this is just the default skills. It will use it the same way. It will use it every time and give you the better response.
Very,
So
very, very cool.
that's it.
Very interesting presentation. Okay, so
Thank
I
you,
think we
Rosalia.
have reached the end of this podcast. Thank you, Adam, for the extremely detailed presentation, and thank you for the PDF and all the documentation that comes with it so that our audience can also experiment it by themselves. And thank you to the audience for listening to us. Thank you and bye.
Okay, bye.